They called her princess on the first day, not because she asked for it, not because she acted like one night, but because she didn't look broken yet. Private Elena Carter stood at the edge of the training yard while the rest of the recruits adjusted their gear, wiped sweat from their faces, or stared nervously at the instructors pacing like predators. Her uniform was clean. Her posture was straight. Her expression was calm in a way that made people uncomfortable. Sergeant Rick Malone noticed immediately he had been an instructor long enough to recognize fear, arrogance, and desperation. Carter didn't show any of them. She didn't shrink. She didn't puff herself up. She simply stood there, eyes forward, breathing slow. That calm irritated him. "Move it!" Malone shouted, voice echoing across the yard. "This isn't a photo shoot." A few recruits stumbled into position. Someone bumped into Carter's shoulder on purpose. "Cry all you want, princess," Private Logan Reed muttered under his breath. "This place eats people like you." Carter didn't react. She didn't look at him, didn't roll her eyes, didn't clench her fists. She adjusted her stance by a fraction of an inch and waited. Malone walked the line slowly, boots crunching gravel. When he stopped in front of Carter, he looked her up and down. "You lost?" he asked. "No, Sergeant." Her voice was steady, not soft, not loud. "You sure? Because you don't look ready." "I'm ready to follow orders, Sergeant." A few recruits snickered. Malone leaned closer. "We'll see how long that lasts." The first week was designed to strip them down. Physically, mentally. Early mornings, late nights, no comfort, no privacy. Mistakes punished immediately. Weakness exposed in front of everyone. Recruits learned quickly that attention was never a good thing. Except Carter kept getting it. Not because she failed, because she didn't. She finished runs in the middle of the pack, never first, never last. She carried her weight without complaint. When others panicked, she slowed down. When others rushed, she waited. IT looked passive, that IT wasn't. Malone pushed harder, extra drills, longer holds, sharper criticism. He corrected her posture even when it was perfect. He questioned her timing, her judgment, her commitment. "Something wrong, princess?" he'd say loudly. "You look like you're about to fall apart." She never did. That bothered him more than tears would have. The other recruits noticed too. "She thinks she's better than us. She's hiding something. She's fake." The pressure increased. During partner drills, Carter was always paired with someone heavier, faster, more aggressive. Reed volunteered every time that he liked proving points. During a controlled grappling exercise, Reed slammed her to the mat harder than necessary. The impact rattled through her body. A sharp pain flared across her ribs. Malone watched closely. "Get up," he ordered. Carter inhaled once. Slowly. Then she rose. Reed smirked. "You sure you don't want to cry, princess?" She met his eyes for the first time. "Again," she said quietly. Reed lunged, confident, reckless. Carter shifted. The movement was subtle, almost invisible. She redirected his momentum, twisted, and forced him off balance. Reed hit the mat hard, the sound sharp enough to silence the yard. Malone stepped forward immediately. "Enough." Carter released him and stepped back, breathing controlled. Reed stared up, stunned. Malone's eyes narrowed. That wasn't luck. That wasn't beginner instinct. That was technique. That night, Malone reviewed the files again. Elena Carter. Age 27. Clean background. No listed combat experience. No advanced training disclosed. Employment history vague, but legal. Nothing explained what he'd seen. The next days were worse. Sleep deprivation. Stress scenarios. Tasks designed to cause failure. During one drill, a recruit froze, unable to move. The team began to unravel. Voices overlapped. Panic spread. Carter stepped in without raising her voice. "Slow down," she said. One at a time. No one ordered her to lead. They listened anyway. The task completed successfully. Malone pretended not to notice, but he did. During a nighttime exercise, visibility low and nerves high, Carter navigated confidently. She didn't rush. She didn't hesitate. She adapted when plans failed. When she returned first, Malone studied her face. "You've done this before," he said. She paused just long enough to tell the truth without saying it. "I've trained under pressure," she replied. Where? Different environments. That answer stayed with him. The nickname Princess didn't stop, that if anything, it got louder. Must be nice, Reed said one evening. Standing there all calm while the rest of us break. Carter tightened the strap on her gear. You don't see everything. Reed laughed. I see enough. The breaking point came during evaluation prep. The instructors announced a high-intensity physical assessment combined with hand-to-hand performance under fatigue. It was designed to expose limits. Malone watched Carter closely. That'd be why the time they reached sparring, most recruits were shaking. Reed volunteered again. Let me, he said. I'll handle her. Malone hesitated, then nodded. Controlled. No ego. They circled. Reed attacked aggressively, overcommitting. Carter absorbed the pressure, her movements efficient, conserving energy. He grabbed her shoulder and tried to force her down. She resisted just long enough. Then she shifted. Her leverage was perfect, her timing precise. Reed went down hard, the impact knocking the breath from his lungs. He tried to rise and failed, pain flashing across his face. The yard went silent. Carter released him immediately, stepping back. Medics rushed in. Reed was conscious, breathing, injured but stable. Malone stared at Carter. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't shaking. She looked disappointed. That night, Malone called her into his office. You want to explain that? He asked. She stood at attention. I followed the rules, Sergeant. You incapacitated him. He exceeded control, she replied. I responded. Malone studied her. You're not here by accident, he said. And you're not as fragile as they think. No, Sergeant. Why let them call you Princess? Carter hesitated. Because people underestimate what they don't understand, she said quietly. And underestimation keeps you safe. Malone leaned back, exhaling slowly. He realized then that he hadn't been breaking her down. She'd been letting everyone else exhaust themselves. The next day, the recruits gathered, tension thick. Whispers spread fast. She broke him. She's dangerous. She's not normal. Carter stood alone, eyes forward. The narrator's voice enters calmly. Sometimes strength doesn't shout. Sometimes it waits, absorbs, and chooses the moment it must act. If you're drawn to realistic stories about hidden resilience and earned respect, subscribe to Generals and Truth Stories. These are stories about truth under pressure. Carter felt the weight of eyes on her. She knew the easy part was over. Because once people realize you're strong, they stop testing you gently, and she knew what was coming next would force her to reveal far more than she ever intended. The atmosphere changed after that night. That IT wasn't loud, that IT wasn't dramatic, but it was permanent. The nickname Princess disappeared by morning. That N01 announced it. No one apologized. It simply stopped being used, like a joke that suddenly wasn't funny anymore. Recruits spoke less around Elena Carter. Some avoided her eyes. Others watched her carefully, trying to understand what they had missed. Sergeant Rick Malone noticed everything. That he also noticed something else. Carter didn't enjoy the shift. She didn't walk taller. Didn't slow down to remind people who she was. She trained the same way she always had, quiet, disciplined, precise. That if anything, she pulled back even more. That worried him. The instructors increased the pressure. Evaluation week had arrived, and with it came complex scenarios meant to expose leadership, judgment, and emotional control. These weren't tests you could muscle through. These were the kind that forced people to reveal who they really were when things went wrong. During a simulated extraction drill, chaos was intentional. Conflicting instructions. Loud noise. Limited time. One recruit panicked and froze. Another started shouting. Carter stepped in immediately. Eyes on me, she said, voice calm but firm. We moved together. No rank. No authority. They followed her anyway. Malone watched from the control area, arms crossed, jaw tight. She wasn't just skilled. She was stabilizing everyone around her. That afternoon, Malone pulled Sergeant Dana Whitaker aside. You seeing this? He asked quietly. Whitaker nodded. She's holding them together. She's holding herself back, Malone replied. Whitaker glanced at him. Why does that bother you? Because people like her don't do that unless they've learned what happens when they don't. That night, Carter sat alone on her bunk, wrapping her hands carefully. Minor swelling. Nothing serious. She moved slowly, deliberately. Private Jonah Ellis approached hesitantly. "Hey," he said. "Just wanted to say thanks. For earlier." She nodded. "You did fine." He swallowed. "Most people would have lost it." She didn't answer. The final assessment arrived without ceremony, no speeches, no warnings. The recruits were briefed on a high-stress endurance scenario involving navigation, physical strain, and close-quarters control under exhaustion. The goal wasn't dominance. It was restraint. That Malone's eyes stayed on Carter. Halfway through the scenario, things unraveled. Point two recruits clashed over instructions. One shoved the other. Tension spiked. Malone didn't intervene. He watched Carter. She stepped between them instantly. "Stop," she said. Not loud. Absolute. Point one recruit shoved her aside. That was the moment. The movement was controlled, precise, and final. Carter redirected him, locked him down, and neutralized the situation in seconds without unnecessary force. The recruit wasn't injured, just stunned. Silence followed. Malone raised his hand. "End scenario." He walked toward her slowly. The recruits stood frozen. "That's enough," he said. Later, in his office, Malone closed the door and leaned against the desk. "You don't have to hold back here," he said. Carter remained standing. "Yes, I do," she replied. "Why?" She took a breath. "Because when people see what I can really do," she said quietly, "they stop seeing anything else." Malone studied her face. "Where did you learn that?" he asked. She didn't dodge this time. "From mistakes," she said. "From letting anger decide instead of discipline." Silence stretched. "You didn't break anyone," Malone said finally. "You controlled them." Her shoulders relaxed slightly. "That's the point," she said. The results were posted the next morning. Carter passed every category with exceptional remarks. S.O. did several others. Because she pulled them through, Reed was cleared to return to light duty. He approached her later, awkward, humbled. "I deserve that," he said quietly. "Not the injury. The lesson." She met his eyes. "Learn it then." On the final day, the recruits stood in formation one last time. Malone walked the line. "When you arrived," he said, "some of you thought strength meant noise, aggression, ego. You stopped near Carter. You were wrong." He faced the group. "Real strength is restraint, awareness, knowing when not to strike." His gaze returned to her. Private Carter showed that without asking for recognition. The formation was silent. That evening, Carter packed her gear in fanfare. No speeches. Yes, she stepped outside. The sky fading into dusk, Malone called after her. "You staying?" he asked. She paused. "Yes," she said. "This time I am." The camera pulls back slowly. The narrator's voice enters, steady and reflective. They tried to break her down with words, pressure, and doubt. But strength isn't always loud, and it doesn't always show itself until it has to. If you value realistic stories about discipline, resilience, and truth under pressure, subscribe to Generals and Truth Stories. These stories are crafted with care, effort, and respect for the journey behind real strength. The final image fades on Elena Carter walking forward, not as a princess, not as a threat, but as someone who had earned her place without ever demanding it. Story ends.